I discovered woodworking in a roundabout way. I say that because I recently built a solar panel frame and a lot of viewers wanted to know more about it. But I wanted to tell you, it is simply a thread on a long spool. Let me immediately say, this is not a how-to video, but more of a why you might want to video. So let me tell you how I discovered I was a woodworker and why you might be too, and how it will help you build that frame and a lot more. I first got introduced to making things by sewing. Sewing was my gateway drug because you assembled things and almost instantly saw the results of your effort. Once I understood you could put things together and make stuff, I quickly graduated to crafting. Crafting was like sewing, only you didn't have a pattern, but a basic idea, and then got to riff on adding things until you felt the piece was done. Time moved on, fabric became more expensive, and thrifting was cheaper. Crafting, too, became an occasional thing. And then one day I was watching a show where a guy was making something, and in between sewing and nailing, he said, "If you can make a box, then you have mastered 70% of woodworking." It was a throwaway line for him, but something exploded in my head. If I could make a box, then I could make things for my house a lot cheaper than buying them. I began watching YouTube videos and decided to make some benches near a fire pit I created. I wanted to use my brother's table saw, but he told me I didn't know what I was doing and refused. So I started with what I had, a jigsaw and an old drill, and made a mental note to myself to start saving for my own table saw. The benches turned out pretty good, and just like that guy said, all I had to do was make rectangular boxes and add legs. I had screws going everywhere, but the benches held together. From there, I saved up enough to get a table saw, but soon discovered that while it was handy, it is one of the most dangerous tools in the workshop. Needless to say, it is a quick and easy way to lose fingers and even hands for that matter. I watched more videos, made a slave for crosscuts, and bought a bandsaw that provided a little more protection with heavy-duty blades for rip cuts. It was at this point that I decided I needed a workbench so I could work on projects in a little more organized manner, and ran into the poor man's workbench. It was easy to put together, and of course Sunny Girl claimed it because it had wheels and I could roll her around on it. In no time, I was adding tools I saw guys use to make things on all the DIY videos I was watching. Some I bought at the big box stores or Amazon, and others I got at garage sales, reasoning it was a cheap way to learn how to use them. I used to wonder why guys spent so much time in hardware stores, but now I understood that the right tool allows you to do more things and shortens the time to do it. Then I realized I liked the idea of making trays. The funny thing about trays is that, yes, they are boxes with a touch of crafting to them. You can make them as simple as a box with a bottom, or as complicated as a box where you riff on the connections or designs around the edges. So, for a couple of years, I sold trays, which helped pay for more expensive tools, like a planer. And even a jointer that made glue-ups look a lot more professional. By now, I had enough tools and decided I just wanted to build things for myself. And then I ran into the chair that changed everything. It was an expensive mahogany chair that I fell in love with for its angles and elegant look. Before, I had been building simple things. This would really challenge me. I began slowly thinking through how the pieces would go together, using plain 2x4s because I couldn't afford anything close to mahogany. If I made the chair, I could stain it to look like the more expensive wood. It was a step-by-step process of checking to see if I was close to the original. And of course, Sunny Girl claimed each part as I went along. But finally, I had the chair put together, and my total cost was around $12 for the wood because I already had the stain. That chair set off a flurry of other projects that I was now brave enough to attempt. I made a coffee table out of wood a neighbor had thrown out. I made several wall hangings from reclaimed wood that added interest to my den. I even went outside and made patio furniture. When I bought a van, I created benches that expanded into a bed, and in a come full circle moment, made the cushions for them. I've shown you all these things to highlight the fact that deep inside most of us is a woodworker, someone who likes to put things together, but we talk ourselves out of becoming. That being willing to simply attempt things builds on itself. So now, when I want something, I make it. I tell friends I have only one customer, and she, me, is always satisfied with the things I make. I stopped highlighting the flaws in my work because generally only I knew they existed. And if someone did point them out, I point out what I learned from it and how knowing about it will help me the next time. And it all started with a garage sale jigsaw and a thrift store drill. So you see, that solar frame I mentioned at the beginning was simply a rectangular box where I put in sections to fit the sides of the solar panels, and later drilled holes to put on wheels. If that combination of things gave you ideas, you might be a woodworker. See you next time.